welcome to Miss Julie's Montessori Minutes. I'm Miss Julie. I'm so glad you found this video here with a little different kind of topic. Well, yeah, different. It's only pandemic I've lived through. Anyway, different topic. And this video was a suggestion, so thank you for the suggestion. Here we go. Okay, I'm wearing my This Is the Darkest Timeline shirt just because I think it's funny. Do I think it's really the darkest timeline? Definitely not the darkest one I can imagine, because remember murder hornets? That didn't really happen. Oh, if it did happen where you live, then you do have my sincere empathy. But so the topic suggestion was to reflect on the year anniversary of COVID-19 here in the United States, what it's been like to operate a toddler classroom. And so it's been about a year, not since the first diagnosis in my state, little more than that, but when it first became like, oh, you know, this isn't going away quickly and we've got to adjust, we've got to put protocols in place. So the way I'm going to tackle this subject is talk about early on myself and other colleagues that work with children in my community as we were having Zoom meetings to discuss, you know, what are we going to do, what our strategies are going to be, sharing our worries, our concerns, and did those worries come to pass? So that's the approach I'm taking. And of course, my reflections on this are all anecdotal. So the first worry was keeping our students and families and staff members safe. And so my personal experience is that we've had, knock on wood, praise the Lord, we have not had any outbreaks. But that continues to be a concern, right? That's not something we checked off the list. We don't have to worry, be concerned. So all the protocols are still in place and we're following guidelines, of course. So I don't really have much to say other than extreme gratitude that has not happened. A big concern, especially with my colleagues that do work in early childhood classrooms, is the impact of the adults wearing masks in the classroom. There was some concern that the children wouldn't learn to speak as quickly or articulate as well because the adults were all wearing masks. I must say it wasn't a huge concern to me, and I think this is because two of the most articulate people I know in the world are both blind, and so they never had the benefit of seeing mouths, and they learned to talk. So I knew that alone would not, completely impact. Now, I have toddlers, and so some sounds, the TH and the S sounds are more easily isolated when you can see, but again, I knew that could still happen, and I would say, again, I only have the timeline we're in. And so I never had this group, with me not wearing a mask this school year. So, but anecdotally, I would say it's, the same as any other group. Some children take longer with that articulation, but they're still, progressing. So I guess I would say that was a worry that I didn't have to worry about at all. My bigger worry was children learning to read emotions because they couldn't see us smiling, couldn't see when we were sad. And so I did have some concern that might be a problem. And indeed, at the beginning of the year, I could see the children searching my face, more so it seemed than they normally would, although children are, of course, drawn to the human face always. And so I would, at the beginning of the year, as I was reading their faces, feel called to say things like, I'm smiling under my mask, or I look confused under my mask. Usually, I'm smiling, because children do look to our faces for feedback. We are a mirror for them, and so I would find myself saying, I'm smiling under my mask. And we added things like, oh, and look at my eyes, but they did just naturally start to read our eyes. And of course, they're seeing, their families' faces and other faces. But it did take some coaching in the beginning of the year to, focus on my eyes and to and to reinforce, their guesses by reading my eyes, like, yes, I'm happy. And I mean, eventually they figure out, we're not mad at them ever. But okay, so that was a little different how we read each other's emotions. Would say, of course, they prefer a face without a mask. I mean, even I enjoy seeing people in the parking lot before they put their mask on more than, looking at a mask. That's human nature. We are programmed, hardwired to look at each other's faces. So the way my classroom is built, it's built off the side of my home. And so when we're outside, there's a sliding glass door that they can see into my home. And so when I go in there to do dishes and things, and my assistant is outside with the group of children, there's been a few times when I go to the sliding glass door, so there's that barrier, and they can see me without a mask. And the first time I did this, a child that I had the last year, so she had seen me without the mask, she looked at me and she just lit up and said, "Miss Julie!" I was like, yeah, it's me under there. But it's like, they do miss it. And I'm sure teachers who have students that are masked, that have the older students, I'm sure you're missing senior students without your mask. So hopefully we'll get there soon. Another concern was building community with our families, because we can't have the social gatherings, we can't have the sweet little parent events we used to have with the students, no parent information nights, and just drop off is so quick because we want to avoid exposing the unmasked children to all the adults and the adults to each other. That is just so quick. There's not time to linger over conversations like we used to have, especially at pickup. So I did worry about community building, and I don't know, because it's the only timeline we have what it might have been like. I feel connected to parents. I can only speak for that I feel connected. I know some parents have gotten to know each other because we're all in the same pod, and some parents knew each other before. And so, and just compared to past years, it seems like the typical amount that end up being friends outside of school are friends outside of school. So again, only timeline I have, and that's just my viewpoint of things. Do miss having had all those fun events that we had, and I am hoping here, maybe by May or June we can have some of those fun end of the year events. So I can only give my own perspective on that, not the parents' perspective. But here's one thing I never thought about before the year started, and that is just a different feel of how deeply the students love each other. And I wouldn't say I've got more affectionate children than usual. I wouldn't say, the energy type, emerging personalities are different in any way. It just seems to me they're more excited to be each other. They're more like a group of siblings. I mean, they do tend to start acting like siblings when they spend all day together, but it just seems like more of an eagerness. And again, this is just anecdotal, like you can't measure this, but it just seems like they appreciate being together more. And I think that's just the proximity principle, is like, you become like who you spend time with. You're closer and love who you spend more time with. And this is the group they're getting to spend the most time. Like, there's not as many opportunities, to go hang out with groups of kids. There's no library times or mom's group or Sunday school. Here, there's not all those opportunities like there used to be, and there just seems to be, to me, more of a general eagerness and love for each other. So again, that's my perspective and a feeling, and completely unmeasurable, but it is my reflection. Usually I make videos about the prepared environment for toddler, about communicating for toddler, and things to help and inspire toddler parents. So if you want to see more of those, go ahead and like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. All right, thanks for watching. And here's some more videos you might like.